Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Slasher Report, and today we have something very, very important to discuss, to go over with the official announcement of Halloween the game, with ILLFONIC developing and publishing, and Gun co-publishing. Now, this is a pretty big deal because right away people see Gun and they just want to drop it. They don't want to bother with this game. They don't even want to try it because of the history behind Gun and what they did with TCM. And then they even try to put Friday 13th involved with this bad rep and this talk. But let's just clarify some things so that we can all be on the same page going forward, right? So here's a tweet from ILLFONIC themselves in regards to responding to all of these comments that, that these fans and gamers and horror fans are saying. And it says, from ILLFONIC, we've seen a fair amount of questions come in since announced. So just to clarify, ILLFONIC is developing and publishing Halloween with co-publishing support from our pals at Fear the Gun, which is Gun Interactive. So let's get this straight, right? For the record, ILLFONIC has been developing this game for nearly 2 years, right? Definitely over a year. I'm going to say nearly 2 years. And most likely Boss Teams was involved with the project as the publisher. Now ILLFONIC is publishing the game, right? But this is a pretty hefty, if not the biggest IP, right? So we need a little bit more funds. And Gun does have a track record for establishing such funds, and say what you will about Gun, but they are a business partner more than anything. They are a business partner. So while they are fans of the horror franchise with Friday 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, and some other projects that they're working on, they're also a business partner. Wes is very, very educated in that field, so when it comes down to it, they have the funds to help with promoting and publishing for these licenses, these video games. ILLFONIC is the wizards, right? ILLFONIC is the wizards. They're the ones that are developing these games. They're the ones that develop Friday 13th. They're the ones that are developing Halloween, right? And look at what they did with Friday 13th. Here's another big one. Here's a big one that we have to just lay down flat with the facts, right? Friday the 13th, the game. What happened? Well, there was a universal lawsuit from Victor Miller to stop everything that is Friday the 13th related because he was not getting the shares from Sean S. Cunningham, right? So when that happened, with Friday 13th, the game, they had literally no legal choice in the matter. They could not continue forward with Friday the 13th, the game. They legitimately had to stop developing and stop publishing Friday the 13th, the game. They couldn't, and they even stated this way back when they made the official announcement, and it broke my heart. It broke everybody's heart, and I think it seems like a lot of people just seem to kind of forget that, because there's a lot of comments saying like, oh, what they did with Friday 13th and what they did with TCM, those are two completely different properties and two completely different reasons. Like Friday the 13th, this game, if there was no universal lawsuit from Victor Miller, this game would still be alive to this date, right? This game would still be alive to this date. They had so much content that they were actually working on still, and they had a whole huge roadmap, right? With all this content they were working on. They just released the single player challenges, and they're working on even more single player challenges. They were working on Jason Takes Manhattan with the map. They were working on Jason X, the character, and the map itself. They're working on Paranoia, which was a whole separate video game mode where it was all camp counselors, and one of the chosen camp counselors was the killer, but you wouldn't know that was the killer until it was too late. And then we're going to have Pamela Voorhees as another killer, the mother of Jason Voorhees. So there was so much content that we were going to have for years, but because of the universal lawsuit, It had to end. So it wasn't Gun's decision. It wasn't ILLFONIC's decision. It was just an unfortunate situation. Now for TCM, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, you goddamn right. Like I am with you 100%, right? It's like, what happened? Well, from what we know, they only have the rights to the first movie. Could it have gone further and pursue for other rights? Yeah, absolutely, 100%, right? I think for Gun to have two different developers, right? Because they had a different developer that they haven't worked with before to make this game, and then they weren't pushing content, and then they hired a whole different development team, and that didn't seem to work out. And so Gunn just had to just lay down the law and just say, hey, you know what, this is it. I feel like, Wes, as he quoted, saying that I feel like we have completed its potential, which, we all know that doesn't feel like it's necessarily true, right? Which is why we're all upset here. When we see Gunn, it just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I get it. But that's what seems to have happened with TCM. That's completely different than what we have experienced with Friday 13th. And the reason why I keep bringing up Friday 13th, because this game right here is gonna bring back all the good times and the fundamental work for that was Friday 13th, and it's all right here with this Halloween game. We're getting single player mode. And it's not just single player challenges, we're getting a story mode. We are getting legitimately a story mode. We're getting offline bots. We're getting multiplayer. That's 3 different modes that they're working on. And let's not forget, Malik Akkad is the owner of Halloween with John Carpenter. Those two are heavily involved in this project. So it wasn't like with TCM where where Gunn had the rights to TCM and they could do so many things with it, whatever have you. But I feel like they didn't really have, whoever owned the rights for TCM. I don't think they really had like back-to-back interactions or engagements. Would be like, yeah, this looks great, let's do this or this and that. I could tell right now with Halloween and how Friday 13th was. Halloween is like this, where it's heavily involved with the properties of the owners, Malik Akkad and John Carpenter. So if something doesn't go right, if something's just like, hey, I don't know about this, who has the final say? Malik Akkad and John Carpenter. They're heavily involved in this project. So it's not just Gunn and ILLFONIC saying, hey, we got the rights, let's go with it. No, they need approval every step of the way. They're heavily involved in this project. Just like with Friday the 13th, Sean S. Cunningham was heavily involved with the project back then. I remember because I was almost in the video game myself. I almost was in the video game myself when it was just Kickstarter. Back before it was even the rights to Friday the 13th, the game. I think it was Camp Blood or something like that, I think it was called at the time, and they had a Kickstarter thing going on, and then they finally got the rights with Sean S. Cunningham involved in the project to make it Friday the 13th, and then here we go. Now it's officially Jason Voorhees. We could get the actual hockey mask, the characters, the lore, everything. It became Friday the 13th, and it was still on Kickstarter. And my God, it cost thousands of dollars to submit, to have your name be in it, and and then other jazz, to be a character in it. So I know from the very beginning with Friday the 13th, when they were making this game, that they were heavily involved with that project, right? This same goes with Halloween, and I think right now it's extremely crucial to hopefully down the road, by maybe this Halloween of 2025, that we could get to know more information, and the involvement and the amount of time of the development. If maybe we could even get John Carpenter to say some things about this game, because we knew this game was being made, right? We knew this game was being made. We made videos about it. Slasher Radio broke silence about it. Another shout out to Slasher Radio. We knew this was happening, and I think even goes back to Boss Teams announcing that there was 2 games in the works, and this was before obviously Boss Teams lost the rights to it for unknown reasons. we can't jump the gun, no pun intended. We can't jump the gun and blame Gunn for this project, because Gunn has only got involved in the last couple months, when this game has already been well developed and established for nearly 2 years, right? So, and the reason why, again, is because they're just business partners. They're there for the funds, for help. They're co-publishers. Okay, ILLFONIC is the developers and publisher. Now, and again, let's just go for reassurance here, right? Well, you know, you're gonna say, well, Slasher, hey, what about Killer Clowns? You know, they dropped the ball on that. Like, you know, it was kind of still content. They just, you know, whatever have you. So, again, this isn't Killer Clowns. This isn't TCM. This is not even Friday 13th. This is Halloween being involved with John Carpenter and Malika Akkad, right? This is heavy involvement. This is heavy involvement. Okay, like they're all working on this together. It's not just ILLFONIC and Gunn. Like, they're all working on this. This is a big project. In fact, there's actually some information that is shown from Bloody Disgusting on an exclusive interview that they had, and it says, not only will there be an offline substitute for multiplayer matches, giving you the opportunity to practice with AI bots, but there will also be a bona fide story campaign, as we talked about earlier, developed in collaboration with Pollard Studio, who brought us Karma: The Dark World earlier this year. I have no idea who that is. We have no idea. I don't know. I haven't heard of him, but also stating here, this mode will thrust you into the coveralls of the shape and have you facing off against the townspeople of Haddonfield, the police, and of course that pesky busybody Dr. Loomis. So this is interesting. Developed in collaboration with Pollard Studios. So there's a lot of involvement. There's a lot of different studios working on this project, right? We got ILLFONIC working on not only the multiplayer and offline bots, which they've done very well in the past, but they're also working on the story and actually having a collaboration with another studio to help with the story. So they're not even rushing it. Like, having additional support is absolutely huge. This is definitely not a rush project by any means. And I can tell you this right now, they know very well, as well as we know, that, you know, this game means a lot. This is the biggest horror IP. This game means a lot, and they're gonna make damn sure they're not gonna mess this up. They know. They read the comments, they hear it. I mean, ILLFONIC even had to make a tweet about it themselves of how involved they are in the project and what Gunn's involvement it is. That's what it comes down to now, right? They know what we're saying about them. You know, they know how upset we are. They know that this means a lot, that this cannot fumble, right? We're all in it together. And I can tell you right now, what I've seen in the articles too, as well, is they got the rights for the first movie of Halloween. So this is like, and actually it says in the article, if I can find it, and it's actually here under the same exclusive interview from Bloody Disgusting, quote here, but keeping it focused on the original film made the most sense to us. The lore is more straightforward. Michael is still young and spry, and it just works. However, we're leaving it open to connect to the other train stations later on down the line if we want to. We'll see what happens. So what does that mean? It means that right now, when this game launches, is only based on the first movie, and we have a lot of photos that were shown from different sources. So with multiple maps, we're gonna have Haddonfield, we're gonna have the asylum, right? We're gonna have the Myers house. We're even gonna have Laurie Strode's house. Like, dude, like, this is insane, right? There's a lot for just the first movie, and there's a lot that they could play with. But we all know how well this property is, how big this property is. I could see this really doing very, very well, right? So when it does do very well, like, they're going to expand with bringing in more Halloween properties. So it's not like TCM where it's like, oh, hey, we only got the rights to the first one and then that's it. We're not even going to bother trying, right? Or whatever the reason was, okay? And again, that was something with Gunn. This is not Gunn. This is ILLFONIC. This is Malika Akkad. This is John Carpenter, okay? This is different. This is huge. So they're leaving the window open to hopefully expand past the first movie. So they could do Halloween 2. They could do Halloween 3 with the Shamrocks, right? Like, this is like, we think you could do Halloween 4. They could even, I don't, like, maybe they'll do the trilogy, like the latest trilogy, right? Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills. Maybe not Halloween Ends, but, you know, who knows? Who knows? But they're leaving that door open. You know, obviously, like I said, they already got Malika Akkad and John Carpenter with them in their pockets, right? So they got them. They got them. They can do it, and I think they will. So this is a really big project. This is a very, very, very good thing for all of us horror fans. So please understand when I say that even though you see Gunn attached to this project, it's not what you think. And that's even quoted from ILLFONIC themselves. And obviously, down the road, when we find out more information, we'll definitely provide you with the updates and stuff on this channel. So definitely slash a like, subscribe if you haven't, turn on those notification bells so you get notified when the next video drops. Right now, I'm making this video as I just got off of work, just to give this fresh into everybody's minds and try to get a sense of ease for us horror fans, because I'm with you on the frustrations. I understand, we all do. All of us content creators right now are trying to emphasize and explain that, hey, you know, we get it, right? Like we're all on the same page. But you gotta understand, like, hey, like, this isn't Gunn. This is not Gunn. Okay, this is a really, really promising thing that we have here, and we're gonna get fed. We're gonna get fed good. Okay, so slash a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I would love to know your thoughts on this, and if you disagree with me, it is okay. That's absolutely okay. Definitely feel free to comment on it. Leave a comment. I like to know your thoughts and opinions, even if you don't like it. If you don't like what I'm saying, if you still say, hey, you know what, fuck Gunn, whatever, leave a comment. I will want to know. You know, I would like to know your opinions, because it matters. Like, this matters, right? And hopefully down the road we'll get some more information. We'll get some more clarity, right? Maybe we'll get some more debriefing from John Carpenter himself. You know, who knows? Like, we'll see, right? But definitely leave a comment, slash like, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Keep your doors locked and leave the lights on. This is the Slasher Report, and I bid you farewell.